Donald Trump isn't just a former president or controversial figure. When you start to pull at the threads of his story, you find connections to ancient myth, powerful archetypes, and even biblical prophecy. Now, intentional or not, his legacy intertwines with some of the most profound symbols in history. Look no further than Trump Tower, where his 66th floor penthouse becomes an altar of symbolism. Inside Donald Trump's Fifth Avenue penthouse, amidst the lavish marble and gold, you'll find more than just opulence. It's a shrine to Apollo, the Greek god of the sun, plagues, and healing. Apollo's likeness hangs prominently in Trump's apartment, depicted in art and sculpture. There's the four-horse chariot led by Aurora, the goddess of the dawn, right on Trump's walls. These aren't just aesthetic choices, they carry deeper meaning. Apollo represents a dual nature, the god who heals, but also the god who brings pestilence with his arrows. He is a figure of contradictions, much like Trump himself, a man who has been both celebrated and vilified, promising salvation through Operation Warp Speed, but delivering what some see as a modern-day poisoned arrows of vaccines. In ancient Greece, Apollo was revered as the bringer of health, but also the god responsible for plagues. He shoots arrows that bring death and destruction, just as his four-horse chariot rides across the sky. Trump's penthouse is filled with his imagery, as if to say, I am Apollo, I am the light and the shadow. Next we have Lucifer and the hidden connections to Apollo. Digging deeper into Apollo's mythos reveals striking connections to Lucifer, the light bearer. In Isaiah 14:12, Lucifer, the morning star, falls from heaven, cast down by God. This connection to light, specifically the sun, is where things get interesting. Lucifer is often associated with music, much like Apollo, who plays the lyre, an ancient harp-like instrument. The morning star is the bringer of both light and destruction. Now, what does this have to do with Trump? Take a closer look at his decor. Statues of Eros, Lucifer, and the morning star are scattered throughout his apartment. Aurora, who leads Apollo's chariot, is also known in certain myths as Lucifer's mother, and this isn't just artistic coincidence. There's a connection here between Trump's chosen symbols and Lucifer's light. Even his gold-plated penthouse, gleaming with the brilliance of Apollo and Luciferian light, seems to radiate this duality, the power to heal or destroy, to uplift or to cast down. And then we get to numerology in Trump's hat, unveiling Revelation 9:11. Trump's infamous new 45/47 hat on the surface is a nod to his presidential legacy as the 45th president and his ambitions to return as the 47th. But if you add the numbers together, something deeper emerges. 4 plus 5 is 9, and 4 plus 7 is 11, which gives us 9/11, a date already steeped in history and conspiracy. In Revelation 9:11, we read about Apollyon, the angel of the bottomless pit, the destroyer. They have as king over them the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek he is called Apollyon, the destroyer. Here we find Apollyon, another name for Apollo, directly linked to destruction and chaos, foretold in the Bible. This passage isn't just about the end of days, it's about a figure with a bow, just like Apollo, riding forth to conquer and destroy. Trump's repeated references to these numbers and symbols hint at a connection to these ancient prophecies. But the connections don't stop there. Apollo's four-horse chariot parallels the four horsemen of the apocalypse in the book of Revelation. One of the horsemen rides with a white horse and carries a bow, just like Apollo. This horseman brings both conquest and destruction, leading to famine, war, and death. Trump's role in modern history is often felt similarly contradictory, promising to make America great again, but presiding over one of the most tumultuous periods in recent history, including the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. His Operation Warp Speed, with its promise of vaccines, could be seen as the modern equivalent of Apollo's poison arrows. Apollo, after all, could both heal and destroy, and Trump, like the Four Horsemen, seems to ride at the forefront of both conquest and chaos. The question is, does he know he's playing the role of Apollo, or is he just a pawn in a much larger cosmic game? So who is Donald Trump really? Is he the savior that some believe him to be, or is he something much darker? Throughout his presidency, Trump portrayed himself as the man fighting the deep state, a champion of the people, yet his actions, especially when it came to the pandemic, tell a different story. He pushed vaccines and signed the CARES Act, allowing hospitals to follow deadly protocols under emergency use treatments, all without liability. Trump, like Apollo, seems to carry the arrow of pestilence, promising salvation but delivering something else entirely. Those paying attention, Trump fits the model of controlled opposition. He appears to be the hero fighting the establishment, yet he furthered their agenda in many ways. This duality brings to mind the role of the Antichrist, a figure who deceives the masses, appearing as a beacon of hope while leading them to destruction. Again, even in the art that decorates Trump's penthouse, the connections to these ancient forces are undeniable. In one of his most famous paintings, The Visionary, Trump is depicted as a sun god, glowing with power, his face eclipsing the sun itself. A modern-day portrayal of Apollo basking in his own light while the world looks on in awe. And let's not forget the other statues. You'll find Eros, the god of love and desire, and a representation of Lucifer's Cupid-like form. Eros in Roman myth is Cupid, son of Aphrodite, who also goes by the name Aurora. This ties back to Trump's numerous references to Lucifer and Apollo, suggesting that he sees himself as a modern incarnation of these ancient figures. If you connect all the dots, Trump's symbolic choices, his art, his numbers, and even his actions point to something far more significant than just political ambition. Apollo is the destroyer in the Book of Revelation, the one who rides forth with a bow, conquering and unleashing the Four Horsemen. As we've seen, Trump has aligned himself with this imagery, perhaps consciously, perhaps not. He's a figure who ushers in chaos while claiming to fight for the light. His followers see him as a hero, but could he be the one who is destined to usher in the Antichrist? If we follow the ancient archetypes and prophecies, Trump fits the mold of the beast, the one who brings the world to its knees before final judgment. In the end, Trump's story is far more than just that of a politician. Again, his symbols and actions and his legacy are deeply rooted in ancient myths of Apollo and Lucifer, figures of light who bring both salvation and destruction. Like Apollo, Trump has been both a healer and a bringer of pestilence. Like Lucifer, he is the morning star, the fallen one who believes he brings light to the world. Whether he knows it or not, Trump is playing a role in a much larger cosmic drama. As we move forward, the question remains: is Donald Trump the modern-day incarnation of Apollo, the destroyer of worlds, or is he something even darker, a pawn in the grand design of the apocalypse? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: we are witnessing history unfold before our eyes, and the symbols are there for anyone willing to look. Humanfluence, out.